Okay, so let's review here. If you live in a structure, a home, apartment, doesn't matter what it is, you have certain elements that need to be in place for that structure to be sound. If you talk to engineers, one of the things they love doing is building using steel to hold on to solid stone under the ground, or the one single form of concrete. Those are the strongest ways to build a foundation. And then of course, once you have your foundation, you lay your house on top of it. Generally, houses are built out of wood. Wood's great because it's pliant and it can hold a lot of weight. This is log for no reason. So this is a furnace. That's a water heater. Furnace. Water. Basically what you have here is one rocket, two explosive rockets right next to each other. And right above them is, that's right, a steel I-beam running along here. This is called the plenum. It's the top of the furnace. You can see the water damage here on this thing. This is on what we call a footer. The footer is below the frost line. In this case, it's 6 feet under the ground, and it's generally about 3 feet by 3 feet thick. And it goes right, it's usually set right on top of the stone that they don't remove. But what's of concern here, of course, is that you've got, next to your rocket, or your two missiles if you will, you have one steel I-beam sitting on top of a support cemented into the original floor, and it looks to be not secured in any way. Main heat run right above a beam, which of course they significantly cut into when they were doing it, and you can see even if they hadn't cut into it, the original beam is pretty much fried. So that's why the steel I-beams are there. They just stuck a 4x4 on this side to hold up this I-beam, and on that I-beam 6 concrete blocks not secured in any way to the wall, which is your foundation, and that is what's supporting this house. Nice. What can we do about that? Well, first things first, you gotta clean the area so you can get in there, and then we've gotta break into this so that we can secure some anchors into the wall. So what I'm doing right now is I'm keeping this moist as I break away the mortar covering they've got on the stone wall here. There's several reasons for doing that. One of the main reasons is that this house has forced air. That means it's going to take whatever air is in here, even if it's in the basement, there'll still get some fed into the furnace. And if this is lead paint, we don't want any of that floating around in the furnace. See, I don't need my kids getting all twitchy. Long term, what we'll do is I'll get 2 new steel I-beams that will actually run right into the foundation here. In the interim though, I'm going to build 2 T's and support it a little better than this, because this is not good. Other than that, just doing basic stuff. And it's a slow process. I could choose to use power tools, but that would raise a lot of dust, and again, we don't need that. See how it sounds hollow there? We'll go right down to the stone. And then we'll put a few anchors going up. We'll secure them between the brick, wherever the mortar lies. So the first brick will start here, mortar, we'll have the anchors in there, and that will actually lock these in place. We'll put a washer on the inside so it sits through the mortar and it doesn't affect the strength of the brick at all. Now I have most of the wall cleared off, and I cleaned it off with the concrete cleaner, which is essential if you want everything to stick well. Now it's time for mixing the mortar. It's critical that your mortar is mixed right. I found that people that are good with cooking are great at mixing mortar because they can get the right consistency every time. If it's too wet, it's going to slide and you're going to get a whole bunch that'll just kind of stick onto the blade. If it's too dry, it'll be all chunky. You want a perfect consistency where almost like a souffle. That's the perfect consistency for any mortar. Okie dokie, block's all up and I still have a little extra mortar. What I like to do is add extra water to the mortar. And I'm going to make it soupy. Now, it's not good. At least for now it looks like soup. That's not good. That would not support anything, but it's great for the outside of the brick because you can do exactly what you're not supposed to do with mortar. Grab it in your hand and apply it to the outside of the brick. This helps preserve the brick and waterproof it. Not that mortar is waterproof, but it's kind of like stucco. And then enjoy that burn on my fingers. That chemical burn. It's not as bad as concrete though. Mortar you can play around with for a while before you get the burn. Concrete you got about 4 or 5 minutes before you start feeling that burn. So the walls, it's anchored into the wall now. We're going to let the mortar set overnight. And then hopefully if the kids cooperate with me tomorrow, which of course is not going to happen, I could get down here for 5 minutes, put the block back up here, and take out these supports. Yeah! Nice.